Hello, this is Kevin Benedict, Senior Analyst for Digital Transformation and Mobility with the Center for the Future Work at Cognizant. And I want to thank you for joining us today and my guest, Sanjay Poonen.
Great to be here, Kevin. We think that the world of security and advanced threat protection is going to be one where we have to work very diligently with the best in the security industry. We announced earlier this year a seminal partnership with Palo Alto Networks. They're working, they picked us as the go-to partner that they're going to integrate their mobile threat protection capabilities and Wildfire with AirWatch. Okay. Next week, you're going to be hearing two very important announcements at AirWatch Connect. Checkpoint, who's another player in the security industry, has now also embraced AirWatch. They bought a company named Lacoon for advanced threat protection. They're integrating that now with AirWatch as their first, maybe only mobile management player they play with. And then we've announced an initiative where we are going to integrate AirWatch, and the top 5 or 6 security vendors are all committed to a mobile security alliance to integrate with us. Palo Alto Networks, Checkpoint, I announced both of them, FireEye, Lookout, Zimperium, SkyCure. We picked the best of the 5 or 6, Mokana I think there too, and we've integrated now, or allowed them to integrate AirWatch into the platform. And we want to make AirWatch, our mobile platform, the de facto standard for all applications and the best players in security.
So
that's a huge move.
It is. It's huge, and nobody's done that before. Where do you see green fields going forward for AirWatch?
I think we would like to be the de facto management and security. I mean, I'm not going to say that we do all of the aspects of advanced security and threat protection, but for that, what people call EMM or Enterprise Mobile Management, we'd like to become the de facto standard for either corporate-owned or bring-your-own devices, across all device landscapes. iOS, Android, Windows 10 now can be managed through us, Chromebooks, Mac. Wow. So when we think about the world going much more mobile cloud, any endpoint, we want to have a unified endpoint management that is a AirWatch style console. And for example, at VMware, we had Windows 10 on stage with us, Microsoft, to talk about how it could be managed through AirWatch. That's a huge deal. So the surface area of what you could manage through an AirWatch, when they
brought up Tesla or cars,
has changed a lot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the past it was just, it's an iPhone. It's the post BlackBerry, kind of device management is now much larger. Our vision is managing any application on any device, right? And then allow you to decide the device: desktop, laptop, tablet, phone, Tesla. And provided, for example, on a Tesla or a refrigerator or a vending machine, there's an operating system that we can interrogate. Okay? Android, Linux.
Right.
Just think of it as a bigger Samsung phone.
Right.
Right. And that's what we are starting to do even in the machine-to-machine world. So, when you add all those devices up, there's at least, we think, 1 billion devices in the enterprise that will probably need to be managed, right?
Wow.
Because our estimate is there's 7 billion people in the world. 1 billion of them are people working for some company. The rest 6 are probably children or people retired or not working or older or whatever have you. But those 1 billion will probably very soon already do have at least one device. Kevin, how many devices do you have?
5 maybe, personally.
I've got 3, 4, right?
Yeah.
But we're crazy mobile guys.
Yeah.
But if you take that away, on average, if each person who's working for a company has one across the world, I'm including India, China, Indonesia, many of these, Brazil, that's 1 billion devices. Who's going to be the one who is sitting inside the enterprise? Who's going to be the one to manage and secure that? If we could be the first to get to a large surface area, securing and managing hundreds of millions of devices, that's a huge opportunity. We are in the first inning of that opportunity.
Let me give you an opportunity to explain also, beyond mobile device security, what does it mean, in your opinion, for mobile app management or the enterprise mobility management? What is more than security for those that may not know, what that covers?
I think you have to look at this from the lens of, do you have a corporate-owned device or a bring-your-own device? Let me tell you what I mean by that. So if you're a corporate-owned device and I give you a phone, you won't probably have a problem with my managing that phone. Hey, it's just like a laptop. You put System Center on my laptop, or some other tool if you're managing a Mac or whatever have you. You put an MDM product on my device. That's in a sense. There's a policy agent there and it does its work. But if it's a bring your own device, sometimes people have a little bit of resistance of saying, I don't want you putting an agent on there to manage my device and wipe it out, and even if it's selective wipe. I'd like you to manage my workspace, some notion of a workspace, the space I work, okay, in a way in which I deploy into that safe sandbox just the applications I want, turn them off, but I don't want you managing my device potentially.
Right.
And that app management opportunity, or that, kind of, for lack of a better word, a container, is also an area we need to be very good at. So we see for many of the B2B opportunities or bring your own opportunities, the mobile app management use case, and building a very nice way by which it can be integrated seamlessly, single sign-on into all the apps of the world that matter, Salesforce and so on, is a major opportunity. Just as probably as big as MDM. The problem is that in the past, people looked at device management, MDM, and mobile app management as separate spaces. We're really coming at this to say, we think we can be one of the few vendors who can build a very holistic EMM story for that entire continuum. Mobile device management, mobile app management, mobile content management, mobile identity management, we talked about that, and even a secure container. So we're focused on all 5 areas of what we call a complete EMM platform.
No, that's awesome. So next week is AirWatch.
AirWatch Connected and LAN.
Yeah. Talk to us about, what can people expect there?
We usually do this, and John Marshall, who's the CEO of AirWatch and really a fantastic leader that we've been just fortunate to have driving this, will kind of open the keynote. It's really his show. I'm a guest at his show. But they've done it in a few weeks after the major Apple conferences because there's a big drive around iOS 9. And you've got to understand that part of the success of AirWatch was just, kind of getting them both behind the aircraft carrier in the wake of an Apple. So they timed a lot of this to be post WWDC and the September events of Apple, and lots of iOS 9 updates. Clearly, because Windows 10 came out in January, and Android for Work came out earlier, there's going to be a bunch of Google and Microsoft. We're the only vendor that has strong relationships with Apple, Google, and Microsoft Windows 10. We got to work hard at it, so there'll be very strong messages on any device. The second thing we're going to announce are some very strong partnerships in the app configuration space. I've talked about SAP. There's going to be a few more, and we really are going to show the world that we have the best application ecosystem that are all embracing this open standard. It's not an AirWatch standard. It's an open standard called App Config, right? That's awesome. So the best applications players. We already had several of them. I'm really excited that SAP is joining and will be announced next week. The third is going to be the Security Alliance, what we call the Mobile Security Alliance. We already had Palo Alto on board. You're going to hear Checkpoint embracing us. And then a slew of the best security vendors are all embracing it. So our goal is that over time, this conference, whether it's in Atlanta or in other places, becomes like a mobile conference. Our competitors could be there. It almost becomes like a sideshow to VMworld that's focused just on mobile, and the Mobile Connect conference, so to speak. And we've just had a growing number of participants every year. It becomes the launch point for a few other Connects that we do. One in London, one in Sydney, and then I think we do 200 many other ones. And it's kind of our dream force, in the mobile world, that we have lots of partners. I think there's dozens and dozens, maybe 50 or 100 partners that are coming there, and we'll have booth space. So, hopefully, if you're not able to come, you should connect to some of the sessions, and we look forward to hosting many of our friends there.
The very last question. What have you seen evolve in the mobile industry that you wouldn't have predicted? Looking 2 years ago, it had happened, but you wouldn't have predicted it.
I would say that a couple of things that have been, I think for me, genuinely good surprises. I'd always felt like this sort of write once, run anywhere is a good dream. It should be there, 3GL, 4GL.
Yeah.
But I've seen people really kind of, maybe because HTML5 is not quite ready or whatever, really... and they need really snazzy apps. I've seen people really pivot since that Facebook decision, which was, I don't know, in 2011, 2012, to native. I mean, that was surprising to me. I thought HTML5 would just take over.
My call was HTML5 all the way, and it's not happening.
It's not happening, right? So the switch to native has been really interesting to watch, right? And maybe HTML5, of course, is the goal we're driving. It's going to take longer to get there. Number two, I did not expect there to be an onslaught of interest in open source. Technologies, things like Cloud Foundry. I mean, 8 years ago, we weren't talking about some of these things, right? There were small pockets of that, Sencha and a few others, but open source technologies now are really becoming the key in which developers are looking to develop things, and that's really... and then I would say, although we predicted it, I think that, I am impressed. I predicted, but I didn't, that the world would move incredibly to a cloud-based architecture. We're doing it. If you're an on-premise architecture, if you're doing some of this stuff, you're dead. I mean, it's just as hard to innovate really fast, right?
Yeah.
When we picked AirWatch, we picked them because they were one of the few companies that had taken a cloud-first approach to management security. Same with the app development. Mobile back-end as a service exists because it's as a service.
Absolutely.
So we think that you have to approach this with the cloud. I'd seen that coming, but I think I've been very impressed with how quickly even conservative regulated industries are embracing the cloud.
No, that's awesome. Sanjay, I want to thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your insight, your experiences with all of us today. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.